This is my political campaign presentation, and I'm doing it on Mike Garcia, who ran in the California's 25th Congressional District for Congress. An essential race for both the Republicans and Democrats lies within the 25th Congressional District of California, located in the greater northern Los Angeles area. This race will help decide the future of the direction of Congress. Republican candidate Mike Garcia and Democratic candidate Christy Smith both fought hard until the end of the race. In this presentation, I will discuss the different components of Mike Garcia's campaign, along with connecting his campaign to a class concept. Here is a picture of Mike Garcia. Mike Garcia is a first-generation American who was a highly decorated United States naval officer whose record-setting flying performance earned him the honor of becoming one of the first Super Hornet strike fighter pilots in the Navy. He flew in over 30 combat missions during the time period of the Iraq War over the Middle East. After honorably discharging from the military, he became an executive for the company called Raytheon. He first joined politics earlier this year when he won a special election for the 25th Congressional District, defeating Christy Smith in May of 2020. As far as his political ideologies go, Mike Garcia is very pro-national security. This includes things such as protecting our borders and not allowing people to illegally pour into our country, as well as making sure that we have the proper funding for our police and military in order to secure national security for everyone. He is also very pro-small business and pro-low tax. With a proven track record as the leader of job creation and winning new business while also advocating for and promoting for minorities and women, Mike Garcia knows what it takes to be successful and contribute to the economy. Garcia knows that our economy is strong in spite of the government, not because of it. He opposes job-killing liberal policies like AB 5 that crushed California workers and small businesses. Mike Garcia will go to Congress and go to bat for our community to create a climate that brings good-paying jobs and economic activity. He also believes that low taxes should be a priority for the citizens who live in the 25th District in California. And all this information comes from www.electmikegarcia.com. Mike Garcia is also against socialism. Mike Garcia is a first-generation American citizen whose family came to the United States legally for more opportunity and for a shot at the American dream. Mike Garcia will fight against Democrats' socialist agenda and restore country's guiding principles. He helped protect this country for 20 years as a naval officer, and he will do the same in Congress. He is also pro-term limits, and this is because Mike Garcia is not a career politician, and he knows what career politicians look like. It's stated that the Founding Fathers wanted citizens to step up and serve the community in office for a brief period and then make way for new representation before they lost touch with their constituency. All of this information comes from his website titled www.electmikegarcia.com. As far as Mike Garcia's campaign strategy goes, Mike Garcia ran a very effective grassroots style of a campaign. The thing that he did excellent was energize his base of supporters. All throughout my hometown of Santa Clarita, California, and extended areas of the district, there are massive Mike Garcia signs on the street corners and even billboards in some cases. It seemed like everywhere you looked in Santa Clarita, you would see his signs somewhere along busy city streets. The same could be said with yard signs too. People everywhere in Santa Clarita had Mike Garcia campaign signs in their front yards. His campaign team was very good about spreading his name everywhere. There were also various grassroots Mike Garcia rallies on busy street corners in Santa Clarita. There was one every Saturday leading up to the election where people would come together to support Mike Garcia. In my hometown, there was also Trump car parades every Saturday during the month leading up to the election. The weekend before November 3rd, it was reported that there was nearly 2,000 vehicles participating in the Trump car parade in Santa Clarita. This made people very enthusiastic to not only vote for Trump, but to vote down ballot, which meant more people excited to vote for Mike Garcia. This image right here on the screen was taken by my father at one of the Trump parades leading up to the election in my hometown. And right here is an image of what the Mike Garcia yard sign looks like, and this one that I took a picture of was in our front yard. The class concept that I am incorporating into my presentation is ethos. According to EnglishComposition.org, ethos is an appeal to the writer's credibility and character. In this case, it is talking about politician Mike Garcia's credibility and character. Mike Garcia reached out to people in a very ethos-centric way throughout his campaign. Because he is a former decorated Navy pilot, he uses that advantage to his side by saying to people that he fought for this country overseas and now he will fight for us. He uses never have being a politician in his life to his advantage by telling the public that he is just like one of us, because the majority of us have never been in politics either. He grew up in Santa Clarita and even went to Saugus High School, which I live just 2 minutes up the street from. He uses that as a tactic to tell people that he is just another resident within the CA25 district. In various ads, he shows images and videos of him with his family and kids to show that he is just like us, especially since Santa Clarita is a very family-oriented city. He also received the public endorsement of Donald Trump, and he really attached himself to that in order to fire up voters in Santa Clarita, which works for him since Santa Clarita is a Republican city. The media coverage of Mike Garcia throughout the entire campaign on a local level was pretty fair by local news and newspapers. I would say from the sources that my family and I got information from that it may have been a little pro Mike Garcia, along with some other sources being a little bit pro Christy Smith. My parents would get direct information about the campaign from the Santa Clarita newspaper titled the Santa Clarita Valley Signal, which definitely tends to lean right. Some of the articles they would have in their newspaper, especially the opinion ones, tended to swing in Garcia's favor. On the news, however, such as local broadcasting stations that cover the greater Los Angeles area, they tend to have a more liberal bias towards their coverage of politics, and this would occasionally show when I, for example, came home during the semester and I would watch the news, and from what my parents would tell me. As far as the election results go, Mike Garcia won in an extremely contested race in the 25th District of California. According to The Hill, in an article that covered the 25th Congressional District race, the author of the article went on to say, the Associated Press called the race several weeks after Election Day. With 87% of precincts reporting, the candidates were separated by just 333 votes. Garcia had 50.05% of the ballots cast, while Smith had 49.94% of the ballots cast. This was a very stressful time for people living in my area because we were unable to know who the winner was for a very extended period of time after November 3rd. I believe Mike Garcia defeated Christy Smith because of his ideologies and the locations in which the district lies. The 25th District of California consists of 3 main areas: Santa Clarita, Simi Valley, and the Antelope Valley, with the most votes coming in from Santa Clarita. Simi Valley and Santa Clarita are predominant Republican strongholds within Southern California and traditionally always have been. This really helped push Mike Garcia over the edge, in my opinion. Both Santa Clarita and Simi Valley are very pro-law enforcement and pro-military communities, and Mike Garcia's tough stance on crime, as well as his prior military experience, won over a lot of voters in the area. Another significant reason that I believe Mike Garcia won was because of Donald Trump. Trump endorsed Mike Garcia quite a few times, and Garcia used that to his advantage to energize the Republican base in the 25th District. And on this PowerPoint slide, as you can see, there is a map of California, and the highlighted yellow area that is shown is the area in which the 25th Congressional District lies. In conclusion, I was able to learn a lot about political campaigns doing this assignment, more than I would have thought I would have learned. Mike Garcia is a great candidate who I feel deserved the win that he got. I learned a lot about campaign strategies and how many of the course concepts we learned in the semester connected to this assignment. Here is my work cited, where I have 6 sources cited. Thank you.